Level 1, the ping. It starts the way real disasters start. Quiet, boring, easy to ignore. 3:12 a.m. A single alert tile lights up on a screen no customer will ever see. Not a ransom note, not a skull icon, just a tiny deviation. A login that doesn't match the user's normal rhythm. Your brain tries to protect you with the oldest lie in the book. Probably nothing. Maybe it's a VPN. Maybe it's a phone on a hotel Wi-Fi. Maybe it's a false positive. You stare at it anyway, because something about it feels wrong. Then the second alert arrives, then the third, and suddenly you're not thinking, is this real? You're thinking the question that only appears when your body already knows the answer. How long has it been happening? Your phone buzzes. It's the one person who never calls at night unless it matters. No greeting, no small talk, just, we need you now. Level 2, the denial. Level 2 is the most dangerous stage of any cyber attack, the gap between the first signal and the first serious reaction. This is the window where attackers move like smoke because nobody wants to believe the building is on fire. You join the call. A few faces, a few tired voices, the kind of silence that means everyone is scanning their own memory for the last weird thing they dismissed. Somebody says, could it be a glitch? Somebody else says, it's probably a user error. And you can feel the room trying to negotiate with reality, because admitting it's real means admitting what comes next. Late nights, broken systems, angry customers, legal questions, headlines, blame. Denial is cheaper than truth, until it isn't. Another alert hits while you're still talking. A second account, a second region, a second device. Now denial stops sounding like optimism. It starts sounding like negligence. And the tone changes, not panic yet, just seriousness. The kind of seriousness you hear in the way a pilot talks when something on the dashboard becomes non-optional. Level 3, triage. This is where smart teams resist the urge to fix things too fast, because speed feels heroic. But speed without discipline is how you destroy the evidence you'll need to understand what's happening. So you do triage like an emergency room. What's affected? What's spreading? What matters most? You build a timeline. You write down the first known alert, the first unusual access, the first abnormal behavior. You reduce the call to the smallest useful group, because big groups create noise. You assign roles. One person watches identity, one person watches servers, one person watches customer impact, one person watches communications. Someone asks, should we reset passwords right now? Someone else asks, should we reboot those servers? Someone else says the sentence that always appears when fear rises, should we shut everything down? You don't answer immediately, because you know the rule, one change at a time. Not because you like being slow, because you like being right. And then you feel the moment when triage turns into something darker, because the alerts stop looking random. They start looking coordinated. Level 4, the footprints. This is where you stop asking, is someone inside, and start asking, where have they walked? You look for signs of movement, not in a movie hacker way, in a boring, terrifying way. A new admin session appears, a credential used in a place it's never used, a system touching another system that normally has no reason to talk. The problem with cyber attacks is that the attacker doesn't need to be loud. They just need to be present, and presence has consequences. You notice something else. Your team is getting pulled in two directions at once. Direction 1 is technical. Trace what happened, limit spread, preserve what matters. Direction 2 is human. Calm leadership, calm support, calm the people who are already imagining the worst. Because the attack isn't just in your network, it's in your company's nervous system. You hear the first crack in someone's voice, you hear the first anger, you hear someone say, how could this happen? And you want to answer honestly. But you're not at that stage yet. Right now, you're still in the footprints. Right now, you're still trying to learn the shape of the intruder without letting them know you've noticed. Level 5, containment. This is where you make decisions that break normal life. Containment is never comfortable. Containment is you choosing pain now to avoid catastrophe later. You begin isolating systems carefully, surgically. You limit access. You reduce privileges. You lock down pathways that feel too open, and immediately the company pushes back. Support wants the ticketing tool. Sales wants the CRM. Operations wants the dashboards. Everyone has a reason why their part of the business must stay untouched. And leadership asks the most dangerous question in corporate history. Can we just keep running? It sounds like a business question, but you know what it really is. Can we pretend this isn't happening? You give them the real trade-off. If you keep everything running, you may also be keeping the attacker running. If you contain too aggressively, you may cut off the investigation and hurt operations. Either way, you will be blamed by someone. Containment is where you accept that the goal is not looking good. The goal is surviving. So you do it. Parts of the system go dark, and the company experiences the first true symptom: normal stops. Level 6, the war room. This is where the incident becomes bigger than IT, because now it has customers. Now it has money. Now it has trust. Security is there. ET is there. Legal appears like a storm cloud. Communications appears with the face of someone who can already see tomorrow's emails. Leadership joins. And with leadership comes gravity. You establish a single source of truth. One channel, one timeline, one update cadence. No freelancing. Because under stress, humans do what humans always do. They improvise. And improvisation is how small incidents become headlines. Someone from leadership asks, "Are we safe?" You do not lie. You do not perform certainty. You give the only responsible answer. Here's what we know. Here's what we don't know. Here's what we're doing next. Here's what could change within the next hour. They don't like it. They want a guarantee. But you can't guarantee the present. You can only manage it. Then the war room hits the moment where you feel the world tilt. A customer-facing issue appears. A service that normally never fails, fails. Support tickets spike. A few users post online. The rumor starts forming. Vague, early, but alive. And now you are racing 2 clocks at once. Clock 1, the attacker. Clock 2, the internet. Level 7, the message. This is the level people imagine when they think cyber attack. Because sometimes, eventually, the attacker speaks. It might be a note, it might be a demand. It might be a signal that they want you to know they're there. And when it appears, it does something immediate to the room. It turns uncertainty into fear. Because now the attack has a voice. The war room goes quiet. Not because no one knows what to say, because everyone knows exactly what this could become. Now the questions multiply. Did they take data? Can we prove they didn't? Who do we have to notify? What do we say publicly? Do we pause services? Do we bring in outside experts? Legal is already thinking in obligations. PR is already thinking in language that is truthful but careful. Leadership is already thinking in survival. And you feel the pressure shift onto one person every time. You. Because people don't want the truth. They want the truth with a plan attached. And you can feel the temptation. The temptation to oversimplify. To say, it's under control when you don't fully know. To say, it's contained when you're still verifying. To say, no impact because impact is expensive. This is where bad teams lie. Good teams don't. Good teams speak like adults. We're investigating. We're containing. We'll update you at a set time. We won't speculate. We won't promise what we can't prove. You choose clarity over comfort, and that choice will save you later. Level 8, the long night. This is where the incident stops being dramatic and becomes exhausting. The glamorous part of crisis is the first hour. After that, it's just work. Verification, monitoring, restoring services in stages, checking every assumption twice, watching for signs that the attacker still has a foothold. People are running on caffeine and adrenaline and the strange strength that comes from responsibility. Someone hasn't slept. Someone hasn't eaten. Someone is snapping at small things because their nervous system is overheating. You rotate people. You force breaks. You keep the war room functional because mistakes happen when exhaustion wins. And in the middle of the night, you learn a brutal truth. The attacker doesn't need to win forever. They just need to win long enough to take something, long enough to disrupt something, long enough to make the company doubt itself. Recovery isn't one heroic moment. It's 1,000 careful steps, and each step is a test of discipline. Level 9. The morning after. The sun comes up and the world continues like nothing happened. People outside your company drink coffee and scroll headlines and live inside normal. Inside your company, nothing is normal. Leadership wants the final answer. What happened? Customers want reassurance. Employees want certainty. Partners want proof that you're safe. But reality doesn't deliver clean endings on schedule. So you do what professionals do. You build the narrative from evidence. You summarize the timeline. You define what you know, what you suspect, what you cannot confirm yet. You make commitments you can actually keep, and you feel the emotional shift in the company. At first, people were scared. Now they're angry. Angry that it happened. Angry that it disrupted them. Angry that the world is not as controlled as they thought. And anger creates scapegoat hunts. This is where leadership either protects the team or feeds them to the crowd. If leadership blames one person, the company learns the worst lesson. Hide problems. Don't report. Don't raise alarms. If leadership treats it as a systems failure, the company learns the correct lesson. Improve. You can tell what kind of company you're in by what happens next. Level 10. The postmortem. This is where the story becomes permanent, because the real outcome of an incident isn't just downtime, it's culture. You run the postmortem like a surgeon, not emotional, not performative, precise. You document what happened. You document what worked. You document what failed. You identify root causes, not just the technical ones, but the organizational ones. The thing that was postponed because it wasn't urgent. The access that was broader than it needed to be because convenience won. The monitoring that was good enough until it wasn't. The warning signs that existed but didn't get escalated because the process was unclear. Then you build the new system. Better visibility, better access hygiene, better incident drills, better backups, clearer ownership, faster internal communication. Not because you believe in perfect safety, but because you now understand what security actually is. It's not a tool you buy. It's a discipline you practice. And when the postmortem ends, there's one final truth that stays with you. The attack is over, but it has changed the company. Everyone will remember this night. Some will remember the panic. Some will remember the teamwork. Some will remember the silence right before the message appeared. And you'll remember the moment the first alert arrived, quiet and boring, and the world almost ignored it. The cycle begins. Again. A month later, the systems are stable. The dashboards look clean. The incident fades into story. New hires join. They don't feel the fear in the walls yet. They hear about that one time like it was weather. Then, on a random night, an alert flickers again on a screen. A new login, a new anomaly, a new tiny deviation. And somewhere, someone's phone buzzes at 3:12 a.m. They rub their eyes, sit up, and stare at the quiet signal. Their brain offers the same lie yours did. Probably nothing. And then, the second alert arrives. Hearing cyber attack, knowing how much destruction it can cause in silence, is truly terrifying. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so I can feel motivated to bring you more videos faster. Take care, and bye-bye.